Sit up straight. Make your spine tall. Make your spine tall enough that each of the compartments up and down the length of the spine are fully accessible to your breathing process. So that breath can touch pelvic floor, side walls, back walls, front, all the way up, armpits, collarbones. You can feel your breath in your bones. Let your bones lengthen in all directions. The general rule is toward their joint with the next bone. So your collarbone extends toward this top sternum and toward this little tiny joint with your shoulder blade out here. That collarbone grows both directions. Your shoulder blade, in turn, has to come over to meet that collarbone. It also, right, the shoulder blade has, you might think, 3 joints. 2 are obvious, that acromion right there, the top front, and with the arm bone itself. And your shoulder blade needs to expand outward toward its joint with the arm bone. We say the trapezius broadens, the shoulder blade broadens. We also say that lower shoulder blade draws down away from the skull, draws down and in. It's embedded in muscle, that joint, that lower shoulder blade. It isn't a joint in the sense that this is a joint, but it absolutely articulates with your ribs, your spine. Your shoulder blade should expand, lengthen downward away from the skull and away from the shoulder socket and away from the spine. All bones, including the odd-shaped ones. So Monica, your wrist bones that have been injured, some of those bones are these 2 long bones, the forearm, but in between those and the hand bones are many little marbles of bones that articulate with your thumb and the first finger and the wrist bone. There's like 3 joints. Some of them have 4, this side, a metacarpal and a wrist bone, right? There's many. These are irregular shaped marbles. You want to expand them toward each joint. We don't have fine enough senses to feel this, but you want to don't let the wrist feel compressed, compacted. Okay. Ankle bones, same thing. rest on your palms. Keep that even expansion of the bones. If this goes well, the joints become quiet. When the joints become quiet between the bones, they can expand. In this expansive way, pay homage to your practice and to that root teacher, Patanjali. Bow your head. Release your hands. Rest your hands, palms down, palms up. Your choice, whatever makes those wrists happy. Raise your head, open your eyes. Okay. Get a bolster or stack 2 or 3 blankets long wide so you've got the equivalent of a bolster. And sit in with the support that you need. Ankle support, knee support, a lift under the buttocks. If there is a great deal of trouble with the knees, you can be up. You could even use the bolster like this or like this. The point being, lengthen the spine horizontally, release the hips away from the skull. So if you're in Adho Virasana, your knees are fine. Move this bolster forward enough that it supports your top chest and head, not your belly. Go long. Now my spine and chest come down, or my bolster is big enough that I go onto my chin. That's more comfortable. But some of you will be happy to turn your forehead, maybe with a blanket if you need it, on the bolster. Lengthen that spine. Stretch your arms. Go long through the arms. Okay. Please come up and watch this, Monica. Anybody else who wishes to can do this. I have to move the cat. Excuse me. Excuse me. She doesn't want to go. You need, if possible, 4 bricks. 2 will do. But if you see what I'm doing, sorry, gotta move this part. There's 2 bricks stacked. Sorry, 4 bricks stacked deep. So I have braced a distance away from the wall. Okay, Monica, you should try to set this up. 2 bricks or 4. They can be foam. Now, this chair seat is folded so that when I tilt it, it stays folded. If I flip it over, it would open. So I turn it to the side where it stays shut. And I pad this. Here's dog pose. Now, Karen, you could just tie up ropes, a sling, and go over the sling. Everybody else, you walk your feet back, walk your hands forward, weight on the wrists. Now, some of you will be quite happy doing this part of the time to get the feel of it and then come away from it and do actual dog for a bit. Now, Marcia, it helps to pat the chair seat. If you are comfy that way, great. But those thighs need to really be able to take that pressure of the chair and go back. Yeah, I think a pad, yeah, a blanket is a fabulous idea. And watch this for 1 second. So I can start like this, and that really allows my thighs to, the push of my hands takes those thighs back, lengthens the waist, the lumbar spine, sacrum. You can come down, lower. The high one for me works best, but everybody's got their spot. And then you come down and take that whole pose. So you give yourself the chance to open this spine. You should experiment with taking the feet further back, not too far, but there is a point where the forward roll and extension of the trunk is optimal, even if the heels come up a bit. And if you're very close, more toward Uttanasana, the stretch is entirely different. Okay, those who will do the ordinary pose, please do. And Monica, just protect those wrists and stretch your thighs, stretch your spine. Those without the chair now, you need to create that same inner sensation. Use that samskara. Use that imprint. It's a positive one. Not all samskaras are bad in this yoga process. Make use of the good ones. Inhaling, open that chest. Exhaling, lengthen your bones. Come out. Now, you all do need that bolster again, or the pile of blankets. The cat. Okay, so on this bolster, you need to, we're doing something I think we've already done, but we're gonna do it again. Chaturanga Dandasana. Bring your trunk level onto this bolster. And by level, I mean your sacrum tailbone should be relaxed and settled toward this bolster, not poking up. Let it go down. Abdomen long, level. Ribs long, level. Sternum not coming up, staying level. Okay. Lengthen yourself parallel to the floor. A lot of us in this pose, we come up, especially now, Monica, you're not putting pressure on the wrist. If anything, you may just be fingertips on the floor, like so. So you don't irritate the wrists. Okay, and watch me, Monica. Don't collapse those knuckles. Make a bowl-shaped hand. Okay, so the finger, think like an architect, and don't collapse your structure there at the knuckles. Think like an engineer. So that right hand, right knuckles have to lift, right? Push into the floor through the working part of your fingertip. You're not doing a push-up. Okay, this is now stretch your legs with the toes on the floor. Keep that spine extending along that bolster. Do it so evenly that your abdominal, pelvic, chest organs, none of them feels like they're getting pushed on the bolster. They're all just evenly resting. Lift your shoulders, lengthen your bones. Make your joints quiet and expansive. Release, come out. Now, everybody but Monica, come up to Adho Mukha Svanasana. So Monica, if it's not a great big deal, you come up, go to a chair seat with these hands long, no bend in the wrist, and you take this sort of dog pose. It's really more like Uttanasana. Now remember the chair. Remember the length of the trunk. Now remember that parallel extension. Think there's a bolster between your forehead and your groins, and your belly can't drop into it. You have to lengthen your abdomen, chest, navel, pelvis along that bolster. Come out, rest. So those who won't work the wrists in a handstand, right? You do first Tadasana, feet apart or feet together. This is preferable, but not for everybody. Let me change that. This is classical, but it's not necessarily preferable for everybody. So in any case, Tadasana Samastiti, Urdhva Hastasana. You need the equivalent of this shape. Now, oh, and then you're going to go forward with these bowl-shaped hands. Don't collapse the knuckles, right? Bowl-shaped hands, fingertip contact, and you see the chair is far enough away that it's supporting almost halfway up my forearm. So it gives me very good leverage. You will then take Virabhadrasana 3, okay? And if possible, your hands might go lower and the leg might go higher. This depends on you, Monica. The rest of you do full arm balance or half, meaning feet on the wall, hands on the floor. Oh, excuse. So you do first now hips level, those working on the chair in the Vera 3 action. Keep the knee of that lifted leg facing the floor. Yes, hips level. Push your bowl-shaped fingertips into the wall. Every bone extends. Don't collapse the joints. Expand those joints. And change sides at will. Take a nice stretch between. Oh, create great length between those hands and that foot. Push the distance out. Stretch your bones. Now, those doing handstand, you can take rests and watch for a second. Those doing handstand, you can, everybody switch to, not everybody, those doing Vera 3, stay in Vera 3 action and try to keep pulling out the length. But those doing wall, those doing a handstand will switch to this half handstand, and the leg will come up in the same shape our Vera 3 friends are taking. Then, as I told them, the hands might go lower on the chair. For you, you don't change your hands, but you change your legs. And you take that biggest extension that you can. Have fun. Stretch up tall. Get a good support. Lengthen your bones. Your joints should be stable and quiet so that you can expand. And you come up to full half handstand. Pull out the length in the whole situation. And to take the split action, even your heel might come off the wall of that wall foot, yes. So you stretch all the bones of that leg as well. Okay, change sides at will, come down and rest at will. Feet lower, Marcia. Marcia, feet hip height. Take those feet lower, almost the height of the doorknob, just above doorknob height. The wrists. So let me have a discussion with the Virabhadrasana 3 people, which Marcia, you may join if the wrist won't take weight anymore. Virabhadrasana 3 people. You switch. A brick. Maybe 2 if you are worried about stability. And a strap with a loop in it to hold a foot. So this is your choice here according to your flexibility. But my suggestion is a setubandha height brick or pair of bricks. See, I'm making a nice little comfy platform. And I put a belt around this leg. and I tuck my shoulders. And I just keep attached to this leg. Mostly the legs are stretching themselves. They're stretching themselves. So don't try to see how you influence things. Push your legs away from each other, okay? So you can do this on bricks. Oops. Don't step on the dog or the cat while you're at it. Now, if you have a foam brick, really be sure it's stable because there's some effort going on.
Devon, I'm assuming I shouldn't do that. I'm assuming I shouldn't do that.
Why?
Okay. I just didn't know if my hips were going to allow me to do that.
It'll absolutely allow you to do the lower leg.
Okay.
And you do sit in a chair. It's the lateral action you don't like. This will be fine. Do it.
Okay. Okay.
Absolutely do it. Lift your chest. The way you're going to get that straight leg heel on the floor. Yeah, everybody should do this. And if you have no trouble getting your straight leg heel to the floor, then by all means, make your support higher. Make it so you got your work cut out for you here. Straighten that floor leg. Don't bring it to the floor prematurely unless you just need a rest. If you just need a rest, that's one thing. Now, Chaya Devi, lift your ribs. Lift your ribs. Lift your ribs, let go the strap and stretch that right leg up to the ceiling on its own. Stretch it on its own. Right leg, stretch it out in the air. That right leg, take it out. I can't tell which side you're on, Chaya. I keep thinking you're on one side and then you're on the other. But I am telling you, put both feet on the floor, Chaya. Now, yeah, see how your ribs came up there? Keep them lifted. Reach your arms out. Wait, not knees up. Reach your arms out toward your feet. On the floor, toward your feet. Roll your shoulders under. Walk your arms closer to your feet. Not feet closer to you. Shoulders. Walk your shoulders closer to your feet. So your chest has to roll into a bigger curve. Okay, if you can go bigger, do in the curve. Now, don't move those shoulders. Bend up whatever leg you need to bend up this side. And put your strap around the foot, but don't put the strap. Never mind, stretch your arms. Take the right leg up and straighten it. Really straighten it. Up, up, up. Yes, up. Okay, now you're allowed to put a strap just to keep that leg vertical, but those shoulders still have to stay tucked. Roll that chest, bend your elbows, pull on the strap, not your knee, your elbows. Let out length on the strap. Take your elbows toward the floor. Lift your ribs and stretch your left leg out. Cheryl, everybody else, are you changing sides? That down leg must straighten. Up in the air, down on the floor, it's got to straighten. Make sure you're done both sides equally. Lift your chest, Chaya. Yes, that lift, keep it. It's more about moving the leg toward the floor than the other one toward your head. Lift your chest, stretch the leg out away from your head. Lift your ribs, go away from that chest, extend and come out. Everybody. Okay, so Chaya, do you feel how that chest lifts as the legs go down? Okay, you have to be able to keep that lift as the other leg comes up. You can't let the chest go down. Yes, so you're allowed to use the strap, but keep the shoulders tucked. Don't let the elbows change position. There you go. Elbows stay bent. Let out on the strap. Bend your elbows back to your sides where they were. Where they were. Elbows in. Come out, everybody. Okay. Now, can we do a headstand or headstand preparation? If there were to be headstand, it would be, and I'm going to show on my device, it would be a headstand, and you would go up. As you go up, some of you will be with your back to a wall. Some of you will be in the room, okay? So in any case, you come up in your headstand. Now, those who can do variations will do this very same variation. Take it, this is my right leg. It's coming forward. This is my left leg. It is leading the way backward. I'm being sensitive in the extension through that leg and its connection to my shoulder, neck, head stance on the floor. So this spine winds up in a, you see it, back bend. This leg counterbalances so the weight always stays even, shoulders, neck, forearms, head. Okay. And when you come out with the idea of going straight up. So the absolute leader in this pose is the extension from your base out this back leg, out that big toe. Okay. It's all legs, all the time. Now, if you're doing preparation, and Monica, with your wrist, you could probably do preparation either holding a brick, so it just keeps the wrist neutral. And if you, I don't know how you feel about this, but it could go as far as the interlocked fingers. And you would go up into your preparation, and those doing preparation have to lift through the spine, remembering that full lengthening of the bolster or spine relationship. Then that right leg goes up, And you make a split too, and you change sides. So preparation, feel that absolute extension from essentially the shoulders through to that foot. The neck is, you can feel it, it's absolutely influenced by what the legs are doing, but it doesn't change its position. So when you come up, that back leg pulls up to vertical, and the right leg finds it, matches, and then you change sides. So we get very caught up in the action of the back leg, and to some degree, that's appropriate. But on the other hand, you got to keep attentive to that other leg, hip square. Don't, those doing the preparation, do not let the weight shift on the shoulders, forearms. Come up, lifting that back thigh. So these feet up devices that I and many of you have, they're pretty forgiving of the balance. It's easy for you to be a tippy and still be able to, you know, not fall over. So be sensitive to that shoulder contact. Now, Parivrita is accessible for those who are still in this work. You can revolve if you like. Lead with the back leg, if you will. And if they're neck issues, the feet up device can really be helpful in releasing the Parivrita issues. All right, pretty much everybody is done. So make sure you complete your second side and come out. Those who are out already, perhaps you can begin setting up for the next action, which involves a chair. Now, according to your capacity, you'll set this up with more or less support for Dvipada Viparita Dandasana and Ekapada Dvipada Viparita Dandasana. So that means you put a sticky mat through your chair seat, and if you have any kind of like, I don't know how to put this, but if the bones of your personal spine aren't entirely happy with the harshness of the chair, put an extra blanket out there so you get the support, but it is softened a bit so that you can relax around it. This is a personal thing. Not everybody needs that blanket. In fact, some people, you shouldn't have the blanket because you need that firmness. Make the experiment. I'm also putting a blanket on the floor, not because I'm going to take my head down. Those who need more support, I hope you remember this. Bolster on the floor, another bolster coming up to the slope of the chair so the head is supported in its back and shape. Is there anybody who's going for this? Do I need to make make more picture? Okay. If you have problems with back bends, tell me. Now, watch. Here's a strap with a loop in it. I'm going to slip knot this small loop to the back of the chair seat. Just a slip knot, it's easy to get out. Take away. And I'm going to feed that strap through to the front. And I'm going to ignore the cat and sit through. Tailbone is right on the end, buttock bone's off. The main fleshy part of the buttocks is off the chair. Drag your chest, elbows in, open your ribs, support your head as soon as you may need to, and allow yourself to relax into this back bend. Now, bend your knees a lot. Take your feet back a lot. And open your chest with your feet back. And then take your arms out and hold the strap. Get yourself balanced so you feel you're not pulling yourself through. And just, this is a beginning back bend. Then you can go further, running your arms in between the front chair legs and stretching the legs out away. So arms go toward the feet, legs go toward the feet, and the chest goes toward the collarbones. Okay. Can you do those two? Come up much more toward your shoulder blades. Half of you should still be on the shoulder blades, not down at the lumbars. Don't go all the way to Dvipada. Open that top chest, shoulder blades on the edge of the chair. And bend your knees and walk your feet in. Your front thighs are going to stretch. Walk your heels in toward the chair. So it's almost like you're trying to get into Supta Virasana. Heels in, heels up. Push the heels further back. Once those heels are in as close as you can get them, take your arms overhead, keep your balance on the chair, reach over, catch that strap. Now, your arms can walk in or your arms can reach out straight and stretch. The first thing is reaching out straight and stretching. Reaching the elbows straight. Pull on the strap. Yes. Pulling on the strap with straight arms reflects the opening into that chest and spine. Makes it easier to coil using the shoulder blades. Then you can bend your elbows, but feel how set that shoulder blade is. And when you bring those hands in, bending the elbows, you've got to work to reset that shoulder blade. That armpit has to be back far enough that the shoulder blade gets well against the back ribs. Some of you need to now go on and run your arms in between the front chair legs. Catch the back chair legs and stretch your own legs. Go as far back on that chair leg as you can. That means walk down that chair leg toward the floor. That makes the armpit and the chest and shoulder socket open. roll those biceps toward the floor. Outer deltoids down toward the floor. And stretch your legs now. Stretch your legs straight. So your arms are reaching towards your feet and your feet are reaching away from your head. All the limbs are reaching away from the head. Okay. Take the arms out, bend the knees, feet on the floor, rest there for a moment, get your bearings, and sit up. Are you okay? Is everybody safe? Can you sit up straight? Okay, so the next phase, if you choose to accept this mission, is a two-part pose. One is sort of picking up where you left off, right? This is where you were when you sat up at the end of the last pose. So we'll get here right before you sat up, and we'll go all I'm pushing so it goes as fast as I need it to. I'm going to the floor. Now, the shape of my spine, I'm going to start over. The shape of your spine is whatever shape it is. So it can be actually quite stiff and flat. Or it could be nicely curved from what it's been undertaking prior. It kind of doesn't matter. Go fast, okay? And see, your throat is open, top of your head is going toward the floor. You just push, don't have a collision with the floor, but just get down to the floor. Now, if you see, my hips are on the chair. My low back is wherever I want it to be comfortable. So I can be a little more on if that makes me happy. I can be a little more off if that makes me happy. This is important. Now, your hands go fingertips, go to the floor, and you lift your chest once or twice or 3 times, just so you get the idea. These arms do things. Then you come in, Shirshasana. Pull out that strap, stand on your feet, come off the chair. This is me sitting on the chair. This is me not. I'm up in the air. The chair is following me because I'm pulling that strap. Okay. This is optional. It's nice to go farther if you have space and stability in those joints. Chai, is your low back happy? All right, good. Work on walking your feet out slowly and pressing your thighs to that chair seat. So not heels down, thighs down on the chair seat. So you really push that thigh hamstring down and lengthen the leg. Karen, you okay? Both Karens.
I don't trust my chair. It's not a nice, stable chair. and it feels like it's coming with me and I don't want to fall on my head.
Let me see your chair. It's a regular chair.
Yeah.
That it, okay, you just need to, actually, you should turn sideways so I see you sideways. It's kind of a bit late for this, but turning sideways lets me see. Cheryl, that looks good. Keep pressing the hamstring to that chair, even if the heels come up, right? Use that hamstring and extend through your toes. You'll touch the wall probably. Now that if you just touch the wall, you get a nice connection back into the hip. If you were to, if I were there, I would run and get a bolster and I would put it in the space between your feet and the corner, and you would stretch your feet into that bolster, right? The heel and the metatarsal. Yeah, that looks good. Okay. Can we come up? We've got one last thing if it's possible. Now, those who've had enough back bend, you want to take your version of Adho Mukha Svanasana once more. So you open that spine. So for instance, Monica, if you need that chair support, you set it back up. Or you work the half foot Tadasana, but you take the dog pose that you can, and then you can sit on your chair seat sideways and stretch your arms up and turn. Okay. Those who are going to do one more back bend, only thread your left leg through. You know where this is going. Hang your right leg open. Put your hips through. All the way through, farther than you think. And go over. Don't take your head to the floor. Just go to the shoulder blades. Now you have to do a very, very, very deep flexion in this up leg hip. And I'm keeping my knee in place, holding it outside that knee and moving my shoulders down. So I'm not crunching, hunching. I'm opening the chest, but keeping my knee in and stretch the other leg. I don't care if it goes to the floor. Not important. The importance is the extension. Okay. Then this leg goes up, and if it's got its own power, that's good. If it doesn't, it rests against the chair back. And you reach over and hold the rope and do a split or do a supported ekpada. Now, if you get really carried away with your ambition in doing your own split without using the chair, be very careful what you're doing with the abdomen. Take the support at first, make the full extension with support so you feel both sides of the pelvis really opening. And then do your own support without losing that, okay? So coil the chest, then place that bent leg foot on the chair back, deep hip flexion in the up leg. Roll your shoulders open and then stretch the floor leg. Hold on to the chair so you really keep the flexion in the first hip. Yes, when the hips are very tight, you have to slide further through the chair. Karen, la place. You have to slide, when you can't get the super deflection, just adjust with the hip position. Okay, you ready? Stretch the straight leg. First, take the support of the chair back. Even if you're very flexible, because I want a more passive abdomen. Stretch that right leg, upper leg straight, and put the thigh against the back of the chair seat, quite straight, and take your arms overhead. So you fully open pelvis, abdomen, and you've got support on that leg. I hope you feel the ability to breathe and lengthen. It should be quite long. Now, when you activate that leg to support itself, watch what happens. Some of it is necessary, some of it is not. So you can go back to that chair, re-stretch that leg, and then bring it off the chair back again, keeping all that space again in the hip socket. Move from the buttock bone to the heel. Down leg straight, up leg straight. Come out then, change sides, come out slowly. One thing at a time. Chaya, that kind of one-legged work is often good for the low back. Like one side feels really good, the other side, you have to think carefully. So do it, but it often can be very insightful. Side 2. In theory, it's the left leg coming over the top, but truthfully, it's your second side. Karen, how you doing?
Good.
Okay. Good. So what comes after this, for those who have exited to back bends, and you have done both sides of your seated twists a couple of times, the next pose for, I think it's, anyway, not Karen Carpenter, you will do Supta. Actually, all of you will do Supta. Supta, oh, never mind. 2 of you will do Supta Baddha Konasana with your toes to the wall. Karen, you'll do something else. You will do that 6-strap legs, or 4-strap legs up the wall. 3 or 4 straps legs up the wall. And the others of you, you will be in Supta Baddha Konasana, and you may take blankets under those thighs. If you have very irritable hip joints, tell me. Okay, now, those doing side 2 of the Ekpada. Cheryl, did you get much difference between the legs supported on the chair back, Ekpada, the extension of the abdomen, groins with that passive straight leg, and then when you activated it, did you get?
Yeah, it's definitely different. I have to work on that some more.
And the 2 sides, it you know, shouldn't be the same, but sometimes you can feel there's unnecessary gripping to make that leg. There's a loss of space in some joints.
Yeah, it felt
That's the
better
way
when the
put it.
Yeah, when the right leg was up and the left leg was down. Yeah. So there's something to be learned there. Thank you. I'll work on that.
have a look at how you lengthen the bones and put space in the joints. And that nodule business just means that the straight leg, the down leg, has to be examined very carefully. Do you feel the little nodule spots?
It's better since, the work that I had, the massage work. Everything's been better since that, but I do have to watch it.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so those who are coming out of back bends, you need to undo those back bends. Now, what everyone else went through was some seated twists first, which you might do on the chair, or if you're feeling purist about it, you'll do them on the floor. You'll do a seated Bharadvajasana. And you make it a soft one. The idea is to recover and re-sort, re-sort those bones and joints. That breath. Back and forth. Sit on the chair, sit on the floor, but be at ease with these twists. It's more as if this is how Ramanand Patel explains twists. It should fit. Here's your shirt, and inside your shirt is your body. When you do a twist, you should feel like that the sleeve, the shirt, is what's doing the twist. And that which is contained stays pretty spacious, open, neutral. You're just revolving the container. Don't use your muscles to like grip your liver and twist it yourself. The pose itself does the necessary. Then you need to spend the rest of class either in Viparita Karani with the chest well lifted. And here's how I suggest you do it. I tried this yesterday and nothing looked high enough. So I'm going to try it again. You want to stack 2 blankets, at least 2 blankets underneath, and maybe even fold them differently to get more height. And then you put your bolster on top of that. So you're really building up, you are building up a distinctly higher than normal platform. You might even put another blanket on top of that. I don't know. You're building it up, which means you're also going to have to build up the floor. And this is the interesting part about it. So you can think, well, what's the point if you're just going to build up everything? The point is, it's totally different. It becomes much lighter. So look, I raised the floor a little bit. Maybe I'll even raise it some more. But then what I'm going to do is put a rolled blanket in, very close in. Then I'm going to roll into this pose. You can go sideways, but it's easy to roll in. This roll goes under my neck and shoulders. I just gotta tell you, this is so much more comfortable than just a bolster on the floor with your legs up the wall. That height is huge. Cheryl, fold your top blanket square and lay it so it drapes deeply. Sorry, I'll get out of the way. So it drapes deeply over, yes, front to back, yes. And then move your bolster away from the wall. You're taller than I am. You need your bolster away, that's it. And you might even need more height on top of your bolster, Cheryl. Now, Karen, you happy there?
Yes.
Did you get that brick between your knees? No, you didn't. You forgot that part. Don't forget that part. That's important for those hips. Karen, how you doing? La Place. Is this different, trying to go up higher? You should feel just more lifted. That roll blanket is to be tailor-made for your personal neck and shoulders. And if you are high enough, those shoulders feel like they hang toward that rolled blanket instead of get pushed up by it. You should, the Vipita Karani is a pose that, like all inversions, is meant to return the vital life force back to its source inside the brain. So you need to feel as if this pose does not feel like headstand, where that spine is completely inverted, so the flow of that vital force is basically in a straight line. And if you make your headstand line up straight, it's noticeable. This is clearly a more terraced pose. That flow of vital fluid drops from the feet into the pelvis and pools there in a level pond. The borders of the pond are the pelvis bones, hip blades, pubis, and also the borders of the rib cage, which in this shape are horizontal, level with the pelvis. So that abdomen pond is level, tranquil, placid. But right where the diaphragm is, as you breathe, as you expand, and as the chest opens, a little bit of that fluid can move from the pond in the abdomen to the second pond at the pit of the throat. top of the chest. So that very top heart region becomes a deep reservoir. And from there, if that roll is correctly arranged under the neck, it doesn't impede the flow. But again, it moves it slowly, quietly into the head. So you can feel how the inhalation and exhalation influences that feel of the fluid in the pools. There's really three pools. There's the lower body pool. There's that chest pool. And there's a pool in the brain. Now, it is the end of class. You may stay as you are if you are comfortable. If you've got somewhere else to go, you can begin to come out. But I am happy to let you stay watching those pools. I will see you next time. Namaskar.